What's going on, everybody? Welcome to back to Ballin Out. Sean, Nate, Grant, back at you today. We're gonna instead of just focusing on the whole NBA like we usually do, we're gonna keep it hometown and talk about the Pistons. They've had a pretty big week this week, playing against two best teams in the Western Conference. And say what you want about the Cleveland Cavaliers, but I guess they're up there somewhat. But yeah, so we're just gonna give our thoughts about those two games that already happened against the Spurs and the Thunder, and preview today's game against the Cavs. So should be some good discussions. Obviously for our Pistons fans, definitely give us your thoughts and what y'all think about things and how we've bested against the two of the best teams in the league as well. So let's start with Monday's game. Let's start with Monday's game. Pistons, unfortunately, fell to the Spurs on Monday nights. It was a good game, just not the best start. 114-103, San Antonio. San Antonio came in the game with a 9-game win streak. Pistons were on a 5-game win streak. And the Spurs, continue to keep it going. But just let's just go down the line and give our thoughts on this game. Like I said, it was a good game overall. But I say it, and I wasn't. I only watched like the fourth quarter live because I was working or whatever. Just I went back and watched the replay, and I got some good notes. I'd say for me, just to start it off here, the biggest difference was just the 3-pointers. Spurs 18-40, and the Pistons 7-36. And I think that was one of the biggest things here in this game. But what were you guys' first initial reactions, things of that matter?
Yeah, I mean, first for me was, I mean, obviously, like you said, the shooting numbers from beyond the arc there, but not to make it too obvious. I mean, Cade just he didn't have his best game that game. He was struggling, at least shooting wise. Obviously, as we know, uh, he's always going to be a playmaker. He'll always get that done. But I mean, when you got your main guy missing 21 shots in the game, it's going to be tough. And give ourselves credit on defense and on the glass too. I mean, I thought we fought hard, and in Wemby actually we I forget what he had at halftime, but I think he only had like 6 or so. I mean, it wasn't much. We shut him down pretty well for the most part. Obviously, some of that's just him missing some threes and stuff. And he started to make. I mean, it was at the end. I think whatever it was, they were up by 3 or 4, something like that. He finally got one of his first three to go or whatnot. And so it's just. I mean, some of that. I mean, you can only do so much. You can only miss so many shots. Kind of like you were alluding to, and at some point it's gonna come back and bite you in the ass. So it did, and the Spurs are good. You gotta give them a lot of credit too. That's a good ball team there. But I think if we would have played 10 times, I think we might win 6. 6 of them right there. So I still like our chances. I think Cade will play a lot better. But yeah, that's kind of my takeaway.
Yeah, I kind of with you too. It's like when our best player like Cade isn't really on scoring wise, it is harder. I think for the whole team, it kind of trickles down a little bit. And yeah, I mean too, just consistently seeing the ball go in the basket too. I think like when you're struggling from three, you kind of want to either shoot yourself out of it or you know try to figure something else in the game plan. But I mean, I guess the positive that I noticed obviously is JD. I mean, coming off of his suspension, he got into a little bit of a almost scuffle. Cade was being a little chippy, and JD was right there. But he said, I mean, even against the Thunder too, two monster games on the glass and the scoring column. So it's nice to see him to be able to come back from his suspension and just kind of pick up where he was left off. But I mean, same with what you said, Grant, too. Like, I think we did a pretty decent job containing Wemby. Obviously, he's insane on the defensive end. He had 6 blocks. So, like, there's not much you can do there. But offensively, I thought we guarded him decently.
Yeah, just overall, like just shutting down Wemby. Like I'd say like that wasn't the biggest problem. It was the biggest problem of the night. I'd say is Devin Vassell, knocking it lights out from three, 7 of 11 from 3-point range, and then Julian Champagny, 5 of 8 from three. So like those two right there, I mean, they just couldn't miss. I think Devin Vassell, he started out like hot, his first 3 shots from three. So yeah, I mean, like containing Wemby was good. Only shooting 37% from the field. I think we gave him some different looks, putting a star on him, putting JD on him, and just being physical with him, which is one thing that I've seen NBA players in interviews say something about it. Just like how he doesn't like the physicality sometimes and can struggle with it. So, and I think this game showed it. Him being physical, us being physical. With him down low, and just even in that mid range area, I think it definitely made him. I wouldn't say uncomfortable, but you know not the best look, that he was looking for, things of that matter. So yeah, I'd say, JD did a good job. I'm excited to see this second game, later this season against them. And hopefully Stu will be able to play, not injury or anything. He'll be, done with the suspension, but, injury wise or things like that. Hopefully he's able to, suit up and get out there because I think that will, bring another element of, just being physical and, being able to just be better. And I think not even like the offensive rebounds was a big thing too, especially like in the crunch time, end of third quarter, in the middle end to the fourth quarter. The offensive rebounds, we just weren't able to secure that, and I think that's something that we got to get better on. But yeah, no, like you said, Grant, Cade 5 of 26, not the best shooting game at all, but Jalen Duren was holding it down. Ron Holland, shout out Ron Holland, had a double double. Glad to see him back out there hooping. Um, and just getting back acclimated, after he was out, with whatever he was dealing with. Back to see him back on the court. I will say though that and this is really for both games that the Spurs and the Thunder. Asar Thompson, love Asar Thompson and the defense that he brings and everything like that. But on the offensive end, if the ball isn't in his hands, sometimes he can just become like a wanderer. Like he's not really doing much, and he's gotta just be better, like off ball. So whether that's sending weak side screens or cutting or creating for others or something like that. I feel like he's got to do a little bit better job of that, and I feel like that was shown a lot more against the Spurs than it was against the Thunder. Against the Spurs, 18 minutes, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. So yeah, his minutes were cut a little bit short, but I mean, if you're not doing much and Ron Holland is giving you a lot more, then obviously you got to go with what's going to put you in the best position to win right there. Um,
Yeah, and one thing I just want to add real quick too, just I think obviously I think as he matures and kind of gets more PT and in the NBA and all that, I think he'll learn to move without the ball a little bit better. He'll kind of adapt to some of those, but what I like early about seeing him is when he crashes the glass, he crashes the glass. I mean, it's like we're a really good rebounding team, and it's every single one of those guys for the most part out there. Like it's actually kind of incredible. That's why I really believe in this team, in the playoff push because I think at the end of the day, the only thing we're truly missing, I think, is just 3-point shooting. The big thing, obviously, in the playoffs is going to be 3-point shooting if you can make them, but if you can play some defense and rebound. If you can defend, rebound, and just run, I think we're going to be able to keep up with any team out there right now. And so um, I think we showed a lot of that kind of against Spurs at moments for sure, and then we saw a lot of that I think against the Thunder as well too, which we'll get into. I just wanted to highlight his rebounding numbers too, because I think it does matter. It definitely helps the whole team.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. And just the last thing I got on the Spurs game is just obviously we talked about, Cade not having the best of game, but I mean Stephon Castle had him at times in like a straitjacket. I can't even lie. The defense that he was bringing, just being more physical with Cade, and Cade usually matches well, with the physical defender, and he's usually good. But it was just, Stephon Castle had his number that night. And that showed in, basically most of the game, in Cade just, shooting so poorly and everything. But I mean, he makes up for it on the defensive end too, 2 steals, 3 blocks, which, I mean, the blocks was a big thing in the game against the Thunder. But yeah, I mean, just Stephon Castle, shout out him and Devin Vassell. I feel like those two were the winners for that game and helping the Spurs, being able to win that game. Like you said, Wemby wasn't that big of a factor. He had his moments, but I feel like those two between the threes and just the defense that they were able to bring helped San Antonio to get that victory there. So, anything else on this game before we go to the Thunder game?
I'm all good there.
No. So you got the Thunder. We were able to, win this game. People may say, it was against the Oklahoma City Blue, which is the Thunder G League team, just because the Thunder didn't have, I mean, most of their starting lineup. out there. But, the Pistons were able to get the dub 126-124 on Wednesday night. Just, initial thoughts, 1 through 3 quarters, great. Fourth quarter is when it all started to fall apart. And I think it's just because, I don't know if it's because like the starters for OKC wasn't out there and we kind of like relaxed and took a foot off the gas a little bit or whatever. But just watching that game, it was like, man, 1 through 3, like the Thunder, they're the reigning champs, and we've talked about their depth, all season long, what they have, but it was just, in the fourth quarter, it got to, I think, a 5-point game at one point, under, 2 minutes or whatever. And that's when, panic started to set in a little bit, but Cade was able to, Cade and Jalen Duren were able to finish the game out for us. So, what are y'all thoughts on, the dub against the Thunder?
Yeah, bro, it was special, absolutely special game. Like you said, quarters 1 through 3, domination. Cade looked like he could do no wrong. I mean, I think he made his first 6 shots or whatever it was, potentially more. I forget exactly, but I mean, just couldn't miss out there. Playmaking was off the charts. It was just like anything we wanted. We were getting there. It was perfect. And then I think honestly, like we just kind of took it easy. Cade wasn't out there kind of for a little bit of that fourth quarter, and like OKC, they just got shooters. I mean, Isaiah Joe hit a couple, I believe. McCain stepped up. Um, Jalen Williams, Arkansas Razorback product, he ended up with a career high at 30 points there. So I mean, you just got guys out there that like we said, Thunder, they're a deep, talented roster. It's not like these guys are. Some of these guys could probably start on some of these other teams. Like if we're being honest, if it came down to it. So yeah, I think we just kind of just let off the gas a little bit. Cade wasn't out there, and I think when Cade's not out there, I mean it's a complete night and day difference. It's just he's, I mean he's so just like calm. It looks like right now out there, like it kind of looks like he can just get to wherever he wants to. He's moving guys different directions. He's doing this and that, and it's just like it usually works out. At least it gives us a good opportunity, I'll say. He's not always looking for like that, shot first type of guy, but it's like, shoot, when we need it, that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to cross over. He had that nice 3, whatever. He had him up in the air, a little side step, so he can do a whole bunch. I mean, he's just like he's nice out there. And I think at the end of the day, we really need to have the MVP conversation about Cade because I mean it's truly special what he's doing right now and kind of what he's kind of meant for this team this year. And we could get into the whole debate about MVP again, but that's another time, another place. But yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, Cade could just do no wrong, and I think we just kind of let up a little bit. But even like toward the end there, I wasn't really too worried. I genuinely felt like the Pistons were in control, even as was 5-point game, 3-point game, whatnot.
Yeah.
No, yeah. The thing that I noticed, I was just looking at team stats. Took 27 threes against the Thunder, so took a lot less threes. And our points in the paint, 70 points in the paint, which should be expected, coming up against going from the Spurs where Wemby's in the paint to playing against smaller lineups. So it's nice to see that, if the threes aren't falling, then we're at least getting to the paint. So I think whether it's against OKC's G League lineup or the normal lineup, I still think we would have, a decent run against them if our guys are playing like this. I will say too, though, I got to see more from Tobias Harris. I feel like that's 2 games in a row now where he really just, he's out there, but he's not doing a lot, which he's not really expected to do a ton. But with being that veteran guy, I feel like he at least has to hit a couple more shots, which I'm hoping he'll do, in this upcoming matchup against Cleveland. So
yeah, I mean, even Duncan Robinson's hitting more shots than this guy at times. It's like, what are we doing out here? It's the Michigan man. Like, I mean, seriously, it's embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Tobias, I mean, especially like he's starting. So you gotta, I mean, last night only putting 2 for 5. Like, we can't have you only putting up 5 shots, even if you're passing it to the next guy and it's a better look. Like, now sometimes,
he needs 10.
Yeah, you got to be greedy.
At
And
least.
we've seen it, at times when Tobias has been aggressive, that post range fade that he loves. Like, there's times where he's got to hit that shot and just be comfortable. But yeah, I mean, just, not even on Tobias, but, also the other veterans like I mean, Duncan Robinson had an okay night, but only shooting 4 from 11 from the field. Karis LeVert's still got I don't know what Karis LeVert is still doing out there, but he's he's got to do something. He's got to do a little bit more something. And surprised that Kevin Shooter has not really. I mean, he hasn't really been given the opportunity to get some playing time, but when he is out there, I mean, it's not like he's just out there getting cardio. He's not really doing much. So, I mean, and that was the big thing that we addressed at the trade deadline. Was acquiring shooting, and he was supposed to be that shooter. So, hopefully, as we ramp up and get closer to the postseason, he's able to get some more PT, and get out there, put up some shots. Because come playoff time, we are going to need that. Because I mean, once again in this game, 3-point shooting was still an issue. Not as big because of Cade and Jalen Duren was able to make up for it, in the paint. But I mean, 9 of 27 compared to 18 of 49. I mean, we got. I feel like, especially in the playoffs, and this isn't like the old like mid 2000s where you can get away with shooting a little bit more in the mid range and the inside area. You got to be able to put up or make at least 12 to 15 threes even to be able to stay within the game, and attempts possibly 35, 40, every game. So, even if they're like, bad looks or something like that, or, not feeling that very confident in the shot, like you still got to take it and be able to create because one, it's not only going to be able to open the floor for Jalen Duren and Cade, but it's also going to give the opportunity for, other guys on the other team, to kind of not focus only on, solely on Cade. So that was, I guess, one of my main things. But like I said, glad we got the win. And shout out in both these games, really all season. Shout out B-Ball Paul, man. Shout out the Paul Reed experience continues. I love seeing him out there and just every time he's out there, it's like no matter if he's getting 25 minutes or if he's getting 10 minutes, he's giving 110% on the court every time. Love seeing him out there. And, just what he brings to this team is kind of different, being a big man and a stretch forward, kind of different from what, Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren bring. So I feel like that's a good balance to have for this Pistons team, especially going to the postseason. So no,
Yeah.
that's pretty much. I mean, and you guys touched on Jalen Duren too. So, but dominant night from JD right there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I think, I mean, the Paul Reed experience has been special too. He had a nice block last night that, I mean, it was absolutely incredible. And then he flies down the court, and I'm pretty sure we threw him the oop too. It was just like this is cinema. I sat there just like the meme. It was perfect. Life was so good. I mean, it was nice. Then we proceeded to like almost lose the game, but life was good. It was all good. We ended up taking care of business.
Yeah. Now, before we get into the Friday game, I want to ask you guys because like we started off and said, this was not against the Thunder's full squad, right? So would you say this is but the Thunder are still the number one in the West. So would you say this is an impressive win, or would you say more it's just like what you kind of expected, against this team? Obviously, we talked about the fourth quarter and what happened to almost basically, collapse, a breakdown. But, what were you guys' thoughts about that?
Yeah, I thought at the end of the day we handled business the way we needed to handle it. Like I said, I wasn't too stressed out about it, but obviously, score was a little concerning for others there. You want to clean that up at the end of the day. Obviously, I mean you're obviously happy to get out of there with a win. I mean you can look to a lot of good things from that game, but at the end of the day, too, you got to look yourselves in the mirror and say, hey, we if they did have SGA, they had all these guys back and all that. You can't do that in some of those, situations. And so definitely, like, I think you look at it like a positive light. I think we handle what we need to do, but at the same time, there's a lot of things I think we can correct and kind of get right for kind of like the bigger games, if you will. I mean, it was a big game, obviously, no doubt about it, both the one seeds and all that, but I think both teams, we both know that this point in the regular season, those don't mean much considering, we'll be fighting for something more at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, impressive, but like, I think too, just coming off of that loss Monday. It's nice to get back in the win column, but also with it being the number one team in the West, I think regardless of if J-Dub or Shea or Chet aren't playing, it's still a good confidence booster for these guys, going forward into the playoffs. So I think, yeah, I mean, the NBA is a any given night type of thing, really. Um, Especially with us being on this little homestand, I think you need to get at least one of these games, against Spurs, Thunder, or the Cavs to kind of be, confident.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Next matchup against the Spurs, March 5th. That's in San Antonio. And then OKC is March 30th. So, I'm assuming by that time, that's pretty much towards the end of the season. So hopefully OKC isn't resting guys. Hopefully we aren't resting guys. Hopefully, we're able to get a kind of a little bit of taste of, seeing, what that could maybe possibly be a finals matchup here come June. So we will see. And then previewing Friday's game, so tonight's game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, the biggest news in this one from each side, Isaiah Stewart's still out on the suspension. He's got 3 more games left after this one. James Harden fractured his thumb against the game. They played against the Knicks earlier this week. And, basically, I mean, he doesn't need surgery. And, I'm saying this from a person that's watched James Harden up close the last couple of years. He's still going to go out and play. Maybe, obviously Friday he's not going to, but he's still going to, grind it out. He's, one of the guys that, unless it's really nagging him or something, he will play out there, even if it's, only 10 points and 15 assists or something like that. But I'd say, my note on this is we just got to match the 3-pointers. This is where 3-point shooting comes down for real. Because the Cavs, not only this season, but in years past, have been one of the top 3-point shooting teams in the league. You got, Dean Wade, you got Sam Merle, you got Donovan Mitchell. Guys that are going to try and light it up, and then extend that lead, that once they do get one. So, we got to be able to shoot and be able to get good looks as well. But, other than that, I think it'll be an easy dub for the Pistons, especially, without the James Harden element in it.
Well, and two, I just saw Donovan Mitchell won't play. So,
Wow.
but I still think even without him playing, like you said, like the shots got to be falling because if playing against Spurs is any indication, like we still got to be able to try to score in the paint with Jared Allen and Mobley being there. So, it might still make it a little easier on the defensive side, but without Donovan Mitchell, of course. But I still think they got some work to do.
Wow. Yeah. Man,
Well,
everybody ducking the Pistons this week. What's up with that, man?
they don't want the smoke. They don't want the smoke, man. I'm taking Pistons minus 22.5. Let's go.
True. At
Pistons.
this point, yeah, I might be right there right with you. I mean, like, I understand, like, the Thunder, like Shea and Jalen, J Dub, they've been out for a little bit, but like the late scratch with Hartenstein and Caruso and
Yeah, and half the
Holmgren, I
like
was like,
literally they
man, I
dropped
was
half
like,
the team. Yeah, they dropped half
yeah,
the team right before. It was like, oh, okay. Like I knew that obviously the stars were out, but I didn't know like the bench was also out too.
yeah, yeah. So no, that's disappointing. So it'll still be a good game though tomorrow. Grant, what's your thoughts? You got any keys? I guess what's your keys to victory?
Keys to victory at the end of the day, we gotta still rebound. Like I kinda like when they were saying, you got like, Mobley and Allen down there. So I mean still got I'd say, you got the Twin Towers down there. So it's gonna be a battle at the end of the day. As mentioned, I've been a very, very good rebounding team this year. I think it's either one or two. I forget where we're at now. But I mean, like we're stars there, so that's where I think we're really going to shine. That's where I think we can really hurt people in the playoffs per se. So that's kind of why I want to see how we do against this kind of bigger lineup here. It does really suck that Mitchell's out. I kind of want to see Cade on the defensive side again too. If you ever got matched up on him and all this, because Cade's just been just a monster on defense past couple games too. It's not getting talked about. But yeah, like, I think at the end of the day, we got to hit some 3-pointers. We got to rebound. Really rebounding though. I mean, at the end of the day, if you can rebound with this team, if you can hold your own in that respect and kind of show that you're, like you said, you got to be willing to shoot the threes, even if not all of them are dropping. Like you said, at the end of the day, I think it's best for the team overall. It's going to create more space on the floor. Cade's going to be able to get to more spots. And so, yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, if you can do that, can rebound, shoot, then I think we'll be 22.5-point favorites.
You confident in that 22.5, huh?
We'll see. This could be horrible. I mean, who knows? I could get climbed. We might lose, but we'll see.
I mean, the Cavs have been hot. I mean, as of late, in their last 10, they're 8-2. And they didn't have Harden in one of those games, and obviously they won't have Donovan Mitchell. They're a half game down from the 3 seed, but from the Knicks. So who knows if they end up staying at that 4 or 5 seed, we could end up seeing them in the second round there. So that I think that would be a great matchup. And then like you said, they got the Twin Towers and Mobley and Jared Allen, so that'll be good to see how we match up with that. And I will say, Nate, because you said something about Tobias Harris needing something. I need a Tobias Harris. I don't know if it's a legacy game, but I need something out of him tomorrow. I
need
need
at least 20. Please show me at least 20.
Yeah, I'll take 20. Honestly, I'll take 20 points from Tobias, man, because he's got a yeah. Because he's just I don't know, like we're used to this, because we've seen Tobias, last year, and then years ago when his first stint was in Detroit, and some people say he's the biggest role player to ever paid in NBA history, just because of his contracts and things of that matter. But we got to get more out of Tobias. So Tobias, if you see this or something like that, I need you to step it up, brother. Step it up, step it up a notch. Turn it up for me. Have a career night. I don't care, man. Go crazy.
I mean, the Bucks, they just lost to the Cavs just lost to the Bucks, and they let Kuzma drop 17. They let AJ Green drop 15. Kevin Porter dropping 20. So Tobias, come on now.
Yeah.
They're just letting anyone score.
Yeah, man. Need a Tobias Harris legacy game. So yeah, definitely. So no, I mean it's been a good overall, just good week for the Pistons. Obviously we got today's game against Cleveland, but I mean just seeing them, the Pistons show that they are the best team in the Eastern Conference, and I mean record wise, statistically, now we're the best team in the league with that OKC dub. So I mean we're just continue to stack wins and continue to build so you can have this long postseason push, man. Because I'm excited to see Detroit basketball and just the postseason. Obviously, it's one game at a time. You got to win a series first. I know that's when some public heads have been saying, you got to win a series first before we can talk about finals, things like that. But I mean, I'm confident that first round series, whether it be Charlotte, Miami, Milwaukee, if they make it, Atlanta, I don't care. I mean, I'm confident that we'll win, and that it's just onto the second round. But it's one game at a time, one round at a time. So we still got some time before that. So before we close it out, just want to talk about Cade Cunningham MVP. Where would you say he's on an MVP scale right now? Like 1 through, let's say 1 through 3, because he's got to be top 3. But where would y'all say he is?
When SGA misses that final game, bro, he's gonna be number 1. I'm telling you, bro, it's gonna happen. Get them some slips in right now. Do what you gotta do, because when SGA goes out, unfortunately, this isn't like a diss on him either. Like Cade, obviously, I think deserves it too, but like it's gonna be nobody else. If SGA goes out too, like I think I got them 1 and 2 right now at the moment, and if SGA can't get it, it's not even close. I think, in my opinion, that Cade should get it. So
Yeah,
which would be crazy because I feel like that 65 game rule has really taken out a lot of the top guys at the season who were supposed to be in that race. So I think the NBA posted that Shea and Jokic were still in the top 3, but like you said, I don't think they'll hit
for
that.
the moment, I mean,
yeah. I think Jokic, he's got 1 game he can miss, and SGA, I feel like it's dwindling down. He's only got a couple more games he can miss too. So and then you mentioned that 65 game rule. It would be so hilarious for the NBA, because Cade Cunningham and or the Pistons, he got MVP and the Pistons have had this great season. Next year they're gonna be like, wait, the 65 game rule, we're gonna wipe that. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. You didn't really need to win MVP, even though I mean, we've already said it. Best team, best player on the best team. So yeah, he deserves it. Jaylen Brown is another guy that's worthy of it. But I mean, you got to recognize, like I said, best player on the best team. So yeah, obviously, shout out Cade, and hopefully he does end up getting it. Whether it be because of the 65 game rule or not. So he definitely deserves it. Over those other guys. So. But yeah, man. So we're gonna, continue to keep an eye, on all the NBA, not just Pistons, but we got to keep it, hometown a little bit. So, definitely keep an eye on how things transpire over the last month or so here in the season as we enter March. This will be, the home stretch officially for the NBA season. And then, obviously we'll throw in our little college stuff in there that we have for March Madness here. That'll be coming in a couple weeks. So make sure you guys, stay tuned for that stuff. We'll do something fun for that. But for now, that's all we got. Until next time, we'll catch you guys.